Hi, everybody. Welcome to another session of Control+M Presents. We're so glad you're here. As a reminder, we're recording this session, so you're all on mute. So when question time comes along at the end of Jenn's presentation, you'll have to remember to unmute yourselves. Today, our Jenn Berry is going to talk about price adjustments in Plex. She was originally going to cover multiple pricing methods, but once she dug into the adjustments, we all realized that rather than rush through multiple topics, it would be better to focus on this one and then bring in other pricing options like catalog or master pricing in a future session. Now, we all know that you can manually edit prices on invoices or orders, but that's pretty painful and unreliable, and it can take discipline, especially if you're deciding how you want them to display in different documents. So Plex developed a price adjustment module that makes it a lot easier and more automated. So today, Jenn's going to take you step by step through the setup of this module and show you how adjustments work in Plex, including how those adjustments can look on documents that you send to your customers. While Jenn was going through this with me, I was amazed at how much I learned. And she told me that this presentation is just scratching the surface, that she could actually do a full session just on formula-based presentations or formula-based price adjustments. Jenn joined us about 3 years ago, and in addition to focusing on our food and beverage business, she has been working with a number of our clients on UX transition. I would say she's by far the best on our team for unit conversions and configuring shipping documents in Plex. So Jenn, without any further delay, please take it away and show us all about Plex price adjustments.
All right, thank you, Patty. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad you could join us for today's session on price adjustments. For today's agenda, I will be defining what a price adjustment is, why we would use price adjustments. I'll go over some settings that are useful for the setup. I will not be going over each setting, but I will have 2 slides in this presentation that you can refer back to when you're setting up your own PCN. We'll be looking at the AR invoice type and the price adjustment type setup tables. After that, we will look at some examples of price adjustment records, and then we'll have the live demo of those examples at the end of the slide session. Price adjustments are used to increase or decrease the price to your customer. They can be set up as a percentage, a dollar amount, or a flat rate. Each price adjustment record is required to have the GL account number assigned to it. You are able to add multiple adjustments to each order line. The adjustments can print on your order acknowledgement, Forma Invoice, Commercial Invoice, and AR Invoice as separate line items. Price adjustments can be assigned by different criteria, such as part group, part type, grade, customer, and others as noted on this slide, and we will review some of those through our presentation. They can be manually applied or automatically applied depending on your setup, and your part will require a part group assigned to the part record in order for the price adjustments to work. Price adjustments can be used for seasonal discounts and promotions. They can be used for material surcharges and can be calculated at ship time depending on what or how much you are shipping. Price adjustments are used to eliminate the manual changing of part prices at the order level. This would greatly reduce your potential data entry errors. When using price adjustments, make sure to decide whether you want your customers to see the adjustments broken out on your invoice or as one line item. There are settings to consolidate the adjustments into your part pricing as one line on the invoice, and this depends on the invoice format that you are using. This setting is also an all or nothing setting. So if you enable the consolidation, it would reflect for all adjustments in one line, including your part price and for each item on your invoice. An example of why to use a price adjustment would be clients who are working in metals, they would have a base price plus surcharges that they pass on from their suppliers. You can define these surcharges as price adjustments by grade and weight during a specific time period. Another example would be for a promotion. Let's say you're giving a discount based on a specific group of items. You could define that discount based on the criteria and time frame of your promotion. Your customers would see the discount on the AR invoice and order acknowledgement. Price adjustments are used on your customer orders, both 2-tier and 3-tier. The adjustments will increase or decrease the price that your customer will be paying at the time the order is shipped. Price adjustments have optional start dates and expiration dates, and you can also use breakpoint quantities on your price adjustments. They can be created based on a number of different criteria, and we'll visit those as we go through this session. Price adjustments can be positive or negative amounts, such as surcharges or discounts. You can base adjustments on formulas which are calculated at the time of shipment. There are specific tokens that can be used for your formulas, and at the end of this session, I will show you where you can find those for your reference. I also have a slide with those at the end of our session. Adjustments can be added for the entire sales order. They can be created for a group of order lines. And price adjustments can also be assigned for invoices already created in instances where you may have retroactive adjustments. So in my previous slide, I mentioned that adjustments can be used on both 2-tier and 3-tier orders. There is a difference, however, between which adjustment types can be used. 2-tier orders can use all types of price adjustments, where 3-tier can only use the formula-based, the manual, and the retroactive adjustment types. So I'd like to explain at a high level the differences between 2-tier and 3-tier orders if you are not already familiar. 2-tier orders are a 2-step process. The first step, you're adding the header for your order, which would include the customer address, and your customer's terms. Step 2 is adding the order lines, which would include your part, the pricing, the quantity, due dates. For 3-tier orders, this is a 3-step process. The first step is the header page, which would include your customer and the customer terms. The second step is adding the item line, and that would be adding your part number, the ship to, and the pricing. The third step is the release, and that's where you would add the quantity and the due dates. So our settings, I mentioned earlier, there is an abundance of settings for price adjustments. I have 2 slides that I'm going to show you that have the settings that we have enabled for today's session. And you can refer back to these slides for your reference when you're setting up your PCN. I'm not going to address all of the settings. These are just for your reference to follow. And here's our second slide of settings. So there are 2 setup tables that we will look at for price adjustments. The first one being the price adjustment type. This is going to determine what type of price adjustment you're going to be assigning for your adjustment records. Adjustments that are automatically assigned will be the formula-based, the grouped order lines, and the automatic types. These types cannot be edited at the order level. If you need to make a change, you would have to inactivate the price adjustment and then update your order line. Manually assigned adjustments will be the total order, the manual, and the retroactive. The order total is assigned on the entire order. The manual adjustment is assigned on the line items, and the retroactive adjustment is only handled from the accounts receivable invoice screen. Another setup table is going to be your AR invoice type table. This table is used if you are using the retroactive price adjustment type. You will need an invoice type that has a retroactive and credit memo flag checked. You can also assign a prefix for this type. I have assigned a prefix of RE so that when we assign a retroactive adjustment, the credit memo will be prefixed with RE and easily searched for in history. So today we're going to be looking at 6 different types of price adjustments. We have an automatic price adjustment that I have assigned a breakpoint of 10, and I assigned it to the part number called cheese pizza. So whenever a customer orders cheese pizza in quantities of 10 or more, the 2% discount will be applied automatically to that line item. I have a manual price adjustment of $1 per unit ordered, which can be assigned on any order in any item. When manually assigned, the adjustment will look at the quantity and multiply it by $1. So if I order 100 pizzas, the adjustment line item will show the adjustment for $100. I have a grouped line price adjustment that will be automatically assigned for items that belong to the part type of pizza. Whenever a customer orders items with the part type assigned of pizza, Plex will automatically assign the 10% discount to those order lines. I have an order total discount of 5% that can be manually assigned on any order. And this is 5% of the total order price. I have a retroactive adjustment for 3% that can be manually assigned on a shipped invoice. And I have a formula-based adjustment automatically assigned to one customer, which is my customer code and M, and is based on the shipped net container weight of each line item at 25 cents per pound. So this adjustment will only be automatically applied for orders for my customer NM. For the live demo, I'll show you the setup tables for the price adjustment type and AR invoice type. I'll then show you the setup for the price adjustments themselves. We will then review 2-tier and 3-tier orders and look at 3 different documents. We will be looking at the order acknowledgement, the performa, and the performa, which will be viewed from the order, and the AR invoice we will view from the accounts receivable invoice screen. Now, the performa isn't used too frequently. It's mainly used for international shipments, but we will show you that form. After we look at our documents, we will then pull up an old invoice to show you how to assign the retroactive adjustment. So before we start the live demo, I do want to say I did take the liberty of creating 2 sets of orders that are exactly the same. One we will demo the adjustments in, and the other one is fully loaded and shipped. And I did this so we could see the invoice results without taking that extra time to release and load and ship. So now it's time for our live demo. So we first want to look at our setup tables. And we're going to be looking at the price adjustment type setup table first. And again, the price adjustment type is your high level. So this is just going to determine, whether it's an automatic, a manual, retroactive. So this is at the high level. So we will be using these first 6 types that I have listed here. My automatic adjustment, you can see that I have it flagged as active and automatic. The manual, you can see that I have active and manual. The order line is flagged with the order line flag. The order total discount is flagged with the order total discount. The retro is flagged with the retroactive. And I'm going to drill into this shipped containers net weight. This is the formula based. So this has a little bit more detail than just the basic flags. So when I drill into my formula based price adjustment type, I do have this flagged as automatic. Now, also you'll see here that this is my formula for this. What this is telling Plex is that this is taking the net weight of each container that is shipped, and it's multiplying it by my price adjustment amount. The price adjustment amount is defined when the price adjustments records themselves. And as I said earlier, there's a few tokens that can only be used for these formulas, and I'll show you that slide at the end of our session. So our next setup table we want to take a look at is our AR invoice. So our AR invoice type. Now this you will only need if you are using the retroactive adjustment type. And if you are using that, you would need to create an AR invoice type of retroactive and flag it with credit memo and the retroactive flag checked. You can also assign the invoice, you can also assign a prefix. And I have assigned RE as my prefix so that when we are applying the retro to the invoice, the credit memo will be created with this prefix. So let's take a look now at our actual price adjustment records. And I'm not going to drill into all of these because we can see the flags on them. I will explain them, but I'm going to drill into a couple of them that has information that you don't see on this front screen here. So my automatic adjustment. I've given it, I've named it my seasonal adjustment with a breakpoint at 2%. Now I gave it a -2 amount, and the negative is going to let Plex know that this is going to be a discount. It's going to be, it's going to reduce the invoice or the price to the customer. I have a breakpoint here of 10. And also for my amount, I flag this as percent. So it's 2% with a breakpoint of 10. I have effective dates. So this is an automatic adjustment that will only come into play between these dates, between April 24th and May 26th. I also have this assigned specifically to the part number called cheese pizza. And down here at the bottom, we have some lines here for order entry line and invoice line. This verbiage that you enter in here will print on the order acknowledgement, and this will print on your invoice line. And your account number is your invoice line and account number are both required when setting up your price adjustments. So let me explain to you what this setup will do. So I have this assigned for cheese pizza. So anytime a customer will come in and place an order for cheese pizza, and if they're ordering 10 or more pizzas, it's going to automatically assign 2% to that line item. And that's for any customer. within this time frame. My $1 per unit is a manual adjustment. So manual adjustment means that I can pick and choose when I want to assign this to a line item. And you see here, I have my -1, which is going to reduce the price, but I don't have my percent flagged. So when I don't flag the percent, that means that Plex is going to say, okay, this is a dollar amount, not a percent. I don't have an expiration date on this, and you can if you want. For my example, I don't, and this means that it's going to always be available for me to choose if I want to choose it. And then again, I have my verbiage and my account number. Now, the order line group, since I've already been through the setups, you can see that it's a 10%. Now, this one I have assigned to a part type of pizza. So what's going to happen with this one is anytime a customer comes in and orders any item that has the part type of pizza on it, it's going to automatically give it that 10% discount. And it's a grouped line. So it's also going to recognize if you have multiple parts on your order that are assigned to a part type of pizza, it's also going to give those line items that 10% discount as well. I have my order total discount set up for 5%. My retroactive is set up for 3%, and my formula based. So my formula based is set up as a dollar amount because I don't have that percent flagged there. Now you'll also see that I have my unit in here as pounds, and that's because I want Plex to recognize that we're calculating pounds. So this is going to calculate the shipped container weight, and it's going to multiply that by 25 cents per pound. So we've gone through the setup tables and the price adjustments. Now we can look at our sales orders and see how these price adjustments will affect them. So I'm first going to look at my 2-tier sales orders. And I have my first order that we'll be looking at, order 70. We're going to be looking at 3 different price adjustments that we've put on that order. We're going to be looking at an automatic, and that would be my seasonal 2% for my cheese pizza. We're going to be looking at the grouped, which would be my 10% for my items with the part type pizza. And then the manual, I'll show you how to assign a manual to our line item of my loaf of bread. So when I drill in here and I look at my my order lines, you can see that my price adjustment column for my first 2 items already has price adjustments assigned to it. And that's because these are automatic. Now, we can take a look by drilling into the link to see which adjustments are actually assigned. So again, for my cheese pizza, I'm going to have both my seasonal 2% and that grouped adjustment. You'll see over here to your right that the accept buttons are grayed out. That's because you cannot take this off of the order because it's an automatic adjustment. The only way, if you needed to come in and take one off for some reason, you would have to go back to the price adjustment record and inactivate it, and then come back to your order and update your order line. My second item, called Debbie's Pizza, will only have the group's discount applied to it because it has the part type of pizza. And my third item currently doesn't have anything assigned to it, but if I can drill in here, I can assign my $1 manual discount to this line item. So once you have all of your adjustments in, these three types of adjustments will show and reflect on the total price on the screen. So if we scroll over here, you can see, we can see we've ordered 10 pizzas at $35, which would be $350, but our extended price is $308. And that's because it's reflecting the adjustments that are placed on that line item. And the same would go for the other two line items. It's reflecting, your extended price is reflecting those adjustments. So let's go take a look at our order acknowledgement. So our order acknowledgement for these three adjustment types will print them on each separate line item. And you can see here, it gives you the verbiage that you've placed at the price adjustment record. And it will show you the discounts per line item and the quantities. We can look at our pro forma, and our pro forma will show the same thing. It will show each discount as a separate line item as it pertains to the part. So let's go back and take a look at our next order. So the next order we want to view is, we're going to be looking at the total order adjustment and the formula-based adjustment. And remember, my formula-based adjustment is only assigned for my customer NM. So as you noticed in my first order, it wasn't assigned, but in this order, it will be assigned at ship time. So let's drill in and take a look at our order lines. So we have two order lines here. And right now you see there's no adjustments assigned. Now that's because the formula-based adjustments do not occur at the time of order entry. They only occur at the time of shipment. So you will not see those adjustments on the order acknowledgement or on the pro forma, because they get assigned at ship time. Now, let's take a look at our order total price adjustment. There's two options on where you can assign this. We can assign our order total adjustment here from the rapid order entry screen, or we can also do it at the header screen. Now, if I assign it at the header, of course, it's going to show up on the rapid entry and vice versa. So it doesn't matter which one you choose, they're both going to be reflected. And also, if you notice, I have actually two total order adjustments created, and that's just to show you that you don't have to just have one to one. You can have many price adjustments for each price adjustment type. So for today, I'm going to assign my 5% discount, and then I can say apply, save it. Now, at the header, you'll see that there's a 5% discount applied. When I go back to my order lines, you'll see that it also pulled in here. Now, the order total adjustment will not be reflected in the total price on the screen. You will only see the reflected adjustment on your order acknowledgement and your invoice. So let's take a look at our order acknowledgement for this order. So the order acknowledgement, again, is only going to show the total order adjustment, and it's going to have its own line. And the total order adjustment is reflected from the extended price. Again, you will not see those formula-based adjustments on the order acknowledgement or pro forma because they are placed at ship time. And our pro forma will not show the total price adjustment. So that's one kind of tricky thing here. And we'll talk about which documents can see which adjustments later on after the live demo. But the pro forma is not one that shows the total order adjustment. So now let's go and look at our third order. And the third order I have created in the 3-tier. So remember, the 3-tier can only use manual adjustments and the formula-based adjustments and retro. But for order entry, it would be manual and formula-based. So I've created an order. And as I drill into my line item, you can see here in the top bar that you have a price adjustment link. If I click on the link for this line item, I see that my manual invoice is available, and I can accept it and say, okay. And now that manual $1 discount will be applied just for this line item. I can go to my next line item, and the manual is also going to show for that. So if it's a manual adjustment, it's going to show for all your line items, unless you have it specified to a specific customer or part or something like that. I'm not going to accept that one on this line item. So now that we have our adjustment flagged, we can take a look at our order acknowledgement and see that that manual adjustment does appear just for my first line item, since I did not apply it to my second. Now for pro forma and for the pro forma invoice, 3-tier orders, there's no way to print pro forma invoices from the customer purchase order screen. But a little trick that we know is that if you do need a pro forma and you're using 3-tier, you can go back to the sales order screen, which is 2-tier, and pull that order up. And view it from the 2-tier sales order screen to view your pro forma. And you see that the pro forma does include that manual adjustment. All right, so we've seen our orders and we've seen how to set up each line item. So as I said earlier, I've duplicated these orders and I've already released, loaded, and shipped them. So let's take a look at the invoices for these orders. So we have 3 orders, we have 3 invoices. So the first order that I went through was the one where we had our automatic adjustment, the grouped line, and then the manual. So if I drill in my invoice, I can see that on my invoice, I now have my adjustments on their own line item. they're assigned to the account number that you assigned at the part adjustment record. The verbiage is at the part adjustment record as well. And you can see that it's calculating for my grouped 10% and my seasonal 2%, it's calculating from the extended amount. So if we look at let's pull up my calculator here so you can see calculations. So my cheese pizza, my extended amount is $350. So you can see that if you're taking 10%, that would be your $35 discount. Your 2% is going to be your $7 discount. My Debbie's Pizza, the extended amount here is $264. So your discount is going to be $26.40. My loaf of bread, and this is the one where we assign that manual adjustment. And so this is different. This isn't based on a percentage. This was a dollar amount. So it's saying how many loaves of bread we ordered. The customer was shipped 15. So it's taking 15, multiply that by $1, and you see that $15 discount since it was $1 per unit. So when we print our invoice, again, it's going to show on the invoice all of those separate line items. And you can see each part line item, and then you can see the line items for each discount. And then you can see your extended invoice amount. My next invoice that we'll look at is the second two-tier order that included the total order adjustment and the formula based. So this is where you're going to start seeing the formula based come in. So the formula based, if you remember, is based on the weight of the containers that were shipped. And it's 25 cents per pound. So I know that my cast foil, I know that it's 2 pounds per piece. So if I shipped 500 pieces, that would be 1,000 pounds. So if I take my 1,000 pounds and I multiply that by my 25 cents per pound, if I multiply that by my 25 cents per pound, that gives me my $250 surcharge. Now you notice this isn't a negative. We have this set up as a surcharge. So it's adding $250 charge to this line item on the invoice. My second item, I know that this item is 2.5 pounds per piece, and we ordered 4,000 pieces, which comes out to also 1,000 pounds. And if we multiply that again by 0.25, that comes out to, again, another $250 charge for my second line item. And the last line would be our total 5% discount. Now, the total discount is not taking into consideration the surcharges. It's only going to give you the 5% based on the extended line item amount. So we have our $1,500 for my first line item and $52,000 for my second line item. So that 5% discount is based on the $53,500, excluding the surcharges. So my 5% discount would be $2,675. We can print that, and again, you'll see each adjustment on its own line item. And you can see our surcharges are positives. They're adding to the invoice amount, and then our discount is taking away. My third invoice is the 3-tier that we did, and that 3-tier is for manual and the formula based. And it's basically a replica of the one we just looked at, except it has that manual invoice. So when we look at our lines, we see that my first item where I had that manual adjustment applied is looking at it $1 per unit. So it's looking at how many units were shipped, 500, multiplying that by $1, and it's giving it the $500 discount. And here are the formula-based adjustments or surcharges that are adding that 250 to each line item. We can print and see those spelled out here. Now, let's take a look at our retroactive adjustment. So retroactive adjustments are only used when invoices that are already created, orders that have already shipped. And they're done so by going to your accounts receivable invoice screen. Now, when you're using the retroactive adjustments, you're going to see some additional filters in here called rebate available and rebate applied. And rebate means the same thing as retroactive. They're one of the same. So a way to use these filters would be, if you wanted to see, if you're looking at a specific time frame that you want to go back and give orders that shipped, maybe last month or something, you want to give them a retroactive adjustment. You can, you could search by the dates, and then you can say, I just want to see what invoices can I apply retroactive adjustments to. So rebate available, retroactive available. I can say, yes, I want to see only the ones that I can apply to, and then hit search. And then only invoices that you can apply retroactive adjustments to will show up. Now, the rebate applied will show you, let's say you wanted to see, okay, what invoices have I applied these retroactives to? You can choose that, and then it will just show you all. I'm going to get rid of my dates, and then it will just show you all of the invoices that you have already applied retroactive adjustments to. So that's for the filters. I want to go in and show you how to actually apply a discount. So I'm going to view all of my available invoices that I can apply this adjustment to. And I'll just pick one here. So I'll just pick a bigger number. Let's do here. So I'm going to go and apply a retroactive 3% discount this invoice. So my current invoice amount is $51,325. There's a balance of $51,325. If I apply my retro discount by using the link above, it's going to apply that 3% and automatically reduce that balance. If I go to my payments, I can see the credit memo that was created and applied against my invoice. I can drill into the credit memo number, and you can see the description of the items, and the 3% on the credit memo that was applied for each item. Okay, so that concludes the live demo. Let's move over to my slides here.
Jen, you did get one question. Are formulas able to be generated to be part specific, or is it limited to part group?
No, okay, so there may be some confusion. So the formulas can have the same criteria. Here, let me see if I can. On the setup tables, let me pull my screen back over.
Okay.
Price. So I had mentioned how in order for price adjustments to work, the part has to have a part group assigned to it. That's at the part record, the part screen. So all of your parts will have to have a part group assigned to it. Now, as far as price adjustments go, the formula based or any of them can have, you can use any of the criteria that you see here. Part number, part group, part type, so any of this criteria you can assign to any of your price adjustment records. Right, so you could have multiple, like I said, you could have multiple, let's say you can have multiple adjustment price adjustments, and they can all be assigned. You could have, a 2% for cheese pizza, or maybe, a 2.5% based on part type or part group. So this criteria can be used for any of your adjustments. Is that?
I just mentioned to Tom, said, hey, why don't you stay on? The person who asked the question, why don't you stay on and we'll answer your specific question after we end the session. So I think we'll, any more details, because a few more details did come out, Jen. So any questions for Jen? Jen, you want to switch to the next slide?
Yep.
We got about 9 minutes left.
All right. So I have some tips here. I'll go through quickly so we can get our questions in. Total order adjustments, they only show on the order acknowledgement, not on the line items themselves. The retro price adjustments only work with shipped orders. The automatic price adjustments cannot be edited. You have to go back, inactivate the price adjustment, and then come back and update your orders. Please test print your AR invoices. Not all AR invoice formats will show price adjustments. If for some reason your adjustments don't show on the invoice at ship time, check to make sure that your price adjustment record is active and that your part record does have a part group assigned to it. Another thing I haven't touched on yet is if you are using a breakpoint on the grouped order line adjustment, that breakpoint is equal to all of your grouped order lines. So it's not just looking at each order line for that breakpoint, it's totaling those together. And 3-tier orders can only use the manual adjustments and the formula based. Some other tips would be that you can consolidate line items on your printed invoice to appear as a single price. So you can consolidate all of your adjustments and your part price into one line. You can also have it so it shows your part price line and then only consolidates your adjustments into one line. Just be careful with those because they're all or nothing, right? If you set it up for just one line item that's based on the invoice format that you use, then it's going to be for all of your invoices that have adjustments. You can't pick and choose which ones you want that to happen on. Formulas can be very, very tricky. Just really thoroughly test those before activating those into production. And again, remember, the parts have to have a part group assigned at the part record. Here's the list of where the price adjustments will show up on your printed documents. The formula-based adjustments will only show on the AR invoice and the commercial invoice. And that's because those adjustments are only calculated at ship time and not at order entry. The grouped order line, the manual, and the automatic adjustments will show on your order acknowledgements, Formas, and AR invoices. The total order adjustment will show on the order acknowledgement and the AR invoice. We talked about tokens. What kind of tokens can you use for those formula-based adjustments? If you go to the documentation link in Plex, it's in your little gears shortcut at the top of your screen. If you drill into that and then you do a search for configuring Plex for sales management, you scroll down maybe like halfway down that page and you'll see a section called price adjustments, price adjustment types, and then you can see what tokens are available to use. All right, Q&A.
Thanks very much, by the way, Jen, for covering this topic. Like I said, before you did this, I really wasn't aware of all the cool things that you can do with price adjustments. So our next session is going to be held in 2 weeks, where we're going to have an open EDI forum. So you can bring your EDI questions and challenges and your wish list to this session, where Veronica is going to be available to educate you on EDI and clear up any issues you might have. She's not preparing a presentation per se. It's going to be an open forum. So it would be great if you could send your EDI challenges to her in advance so she can prepare some advice. Thanks again for joining us. Please check out our YouTube channel. And if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up or subscribe. And please remember to spread the word. These sessions are no cost and no obligation, and they're available to the entire Plex community.